Helldivers, the Illuminate are here to stay, and after killing over 22,500 of them, in today's video I'll be sharing my personal opinions and feelings on how you can counter them with the best primary weapons, ranking them from best to worst. Now, what I should mention is that I am a player that likes to go up against the Illuminate on 10s. So these weapon listings that I'll be having here are based off of my experience in 10 super hell dives. If you're playing down in level 8 or 6 difficulty, then obviously some of these weapons might rank higher for you. But as a player who likes to challenge myself to the utmost difficulty, I'll be telling you the best weapons that I've used so far to complete a successful mission all the way through. With that being said, I'm going to be breaking into everything you're going to need to know in today's video. I'll be starting off with the shotguns, moving over to the SMGs, the snipers, the assault weapons, and then we have the energy-based and finishing off the explosive and special. So, starting off, we have the shotguns, being the Slugger. Now, the Slugger is actually a pretty good shotgun, and if we go over to the weaponry, we can see the Slugger right here. Now, the Slugger is basically the medium armor-penetrating version of the Punisher. The Punisher is available right at, like, level 1, and then you get the Slugger a little bit later. We can see that the damage goes from 405 a slug to about 250. So it does drop off quite a bit, but the advantage is that you do have that medium armor penetration. Meaning, specifically, if you're going up against anything that has medium armor, you're going to be able to deal extra damage to it. However, the way that the Illuminate work is that they actually have kind of like reactive armor around them that you have to break off first before you can actually damage them. Which means that it doesn't matter too much if you're using medium armor pen or light armor pen against the Illuminate. Because of that, the Slugger is rather mediocre, and I'd say the Punisher is actually a better option. So, because of that, we are going to put the Slugger into the... Oh, wait, I have to send this to the back really quick so we can drag these over it. I'm going to put the Slugger into the average category. I don't think it's bad, but it doesn't have the best rate of fire, and I think that there are better options available. Next up, we do have, obviously, the base version as well, and I'm going to be putting the base version into the decent category. Personally, I like shotguns. I honestly like a lot of shotguns. The only problem with these two is that they don't have the highest rate of fire, and at least from my personal experience, especially when you're playing all the way up at 10, with the amount of squibs that like to chase you, I feel like it's better to have a shotgun that has a better rate of fire or stopping potential versus one that might have higher damage output. If you're trying to take out the medium-sized opponents, then yeah, shotguns are great, but I usually use support weapons for that as they seem to be more effective than your primaries. So because of that, we're going to be leaving them in the decent and average category, nothing in the strong or insane. Now, the Holt is actually a really good weapon. This is in the Freedom of Thought War Bond, and as we can see, the Holt has a lot of damage, 385. It's similar to that of the Punisher. It also holds a decent amount of 16 rounds, and it has the same fire rate as the Punisher, basically defeating the purpose of the Slugger, because it does a lot more damage than the Slugger, and not only that, it also has different magazine ammo that you can put on, allowing you to completely stun all the little squids chasing you, which is absolutely fantastic. The Holt is actually a really good weapon. It's great for taking out the large guys. It's great for taking out the little guys. This is a great choice, and it's been a weapon I've been really liking now, especially that you have the new armor, which allows you to have that faster reload speed, 30% more reload speed, and 20% more ammo. It actually really allows the Holt to be pretty solid, in my opinion. So, yeah, the Holt, I'm actually going to be putting this into the strong category. I don't think it's in the insane category. While it is really good, again, the rate of fire is a bit slower than I personally would like, so we're going to leave it in the strong category for now. The Breaker easily goes into the insane category. I think the Breaker is honestly one of the most underrated weapons in the game. It has such a nice dumping potential. You just continue pumping and pumping out shells. And I actually like it more than the Breaker Spray and Pray. Now, this probably won't be the case for everybody, but the major advantage the Breaker has is about an additional, 90 damage per shot. That is a big advantage. And the capacity, yes, it is about 10 less, but it's not that big of a deal because the fire rate's almost the same between them. And now that the amount of magazines this gun has keeps getting buffed, it's really nice. I have always loved the breaker. It's been one of the best bug killing weapons because of the fact you can just demolish everything in front of you. And now the breaker with more magazines, especially again paired with the new armor that's released, it just makes the breaker so good. And speaking about the breaker, we also have the breaker spray and pray. This sacrifices a bit of damage per shot to have the ability to have more magazines. Now, this is great if you want to kill hordes of little guys, but unfortunately, you also have to deal with the jetpacks and as well the meleeing lance guys. I don't remember what their names are. It's funny. All I know is the harvester mainly and the voteless. I always forget the jetpack guys and the melee guys, even though I fought them so much. They're just never something I really, remember the name of. But point being, when it comes to the breaker, I'm going to put it into insane, and I'm going to put the breaker spray and pray into strong. I personally like the breaker better. I've always liked the higher damage output. It's a lot easier to just kill everything with one quick burst than it is to have to continue shooting, because sure, the spray and pray does have more ammo, but if you're doing less damage with more ammo, then I'd rather just deal more damage and kill them faster and then continue on with whatever I was doing before. So that's kind of how I see both weapons and why I like the spray and pray a little less. Then we have the breaker incendiary. Now, there's only one problem I have with the incendiary, and that is it holds 4 rounds of magazines. That's not enough. Even if you're running the armor where you get 5 magazines, it's just not enough for me, as I'm a player who is constantly dumping ammo, constantly calling in more resupplies. Having only 4 mags is not a reliable way of dealing with hordes and hordes and hordes that are constantly spawning on level 10s. Not only that, but the breaker incendiary does not do a great job at taking out the medium-sized targets. It also can't take out harvesters at all, which is a little unfortunate. It's not bad by any means. I'm going to be putting it into the decent category, but the fact that it runs out of ammo so fast is always a problem with me. Ammo capacity is one of the most important things when it comes to a shotgun, and because of that, I don't really like the breaker incendiary that much. I feel like you can get further with just the base breaker, because yeah, fire damage is great and all, but the base breaker is going to nuke all the stuff you're dealing with anyway, and I think the base breaker is like 7 base mags, where the breaker spray and pray has 4. So there's a big difference between the two. And even though or not the breaker spray and pray, the incendiary, and even though the incendiary does have a lot more ammo at 25, just use the breaker spray and pray. I mean, you can see they have the exact same stats, just one as fire. You can use the spray and pray, and you'll be a lot better off because it holds way more magazines. So that's how I see it. And then the final gun we have is the Cookout. And I'm going to be honest, I did not like this at all. I was watching somebody else's tier list, and they liked the Cookout. They actually put it pretty high up. I messed around with the Cookout, and I didn't like it at all. The damage drop-off over distance is huge because you're not hitting all of those pellets, which makes it really bad for taking out the medium-sized jetpacks or the lance melee guys. It's decent at dealing with close range, bursts, and especially dealing with the hordes. But again, it's light armor pen, meaning it can't deal with harvesters at all. And I just don't really like it that much. I don't like the rate of fire. I would much rather use a Halt, which has more damage per shot, especially because the incendiary damage on the Cookout is very, very minimal. So people might disagree with this, but I'm actually going to be putting the Cookout into the workable category. I really just didn't like it that much when I messed around with it. Maybe on lower difficulty it's better. But for me, I did not enjoy it that much. There were much better weapons that I was messing around with. Now we move on to the SMGs. Now, what I will say is with the new armor, the Reprimand is actually pretty good. If you're not running the new armor, it's not good at all. I hate the magazine size the Reprimand has. It has absolutely terrible mag size, which we can see. It's only got 25 rounds. Compare that to any other SMG. And yeah, I know the other SMGs have a lot less damage per shot, but even then, 25 rounds is not a lot, especially for the recoil of 44. The most recoil you're going to find on any of the other SMG is 14 and 15. So, I don't love the recoil, but this does have medium armor pen, and it has a lot of damage, which is great for taking out medium-sized opponents. It absolutely nukes them. One quick mag, which only takes like a couple seconds to dump, can easily clear a medium-sized or a medium target. Medium targets for me, by the way, are jetpacks and the melee lance guys, which also have the little staff that shoots at you. Those are what I consider to be medium-sized targets. Large are the harvester right now. That's heavy to anti-tank. And then small are the voteless. So that's the best way to understand how I'm ranking these. Anything that can deal with the medium guys and the light guys very easily are always going to be higher up on my ranking than weapons that sacrifice the ability to deal with just medium or just the small. So the reprimand actually is pretty good, and I'm going to be putting it into the strong category. I actually really liked its capabilities when messing around with it. I thought he was pretty dang solid, so that's what we're going to leave it. Next up, we have what? The Defender. The Defender is all right. It's okay if you're a new player, especially the best way to use the one-handed items are 100% with the new directional shield that has been added into the game. The directional shield paired with one-handed weapons is insane. And I've messed with all the one-handed, with the new STA-11, with the Defender, with the Pummeler, and as well the Knight. And I can tell you for a fact that out of them all, the Defender is my least favorite. The reason why is because it's basically a Pummeler, but it doesn't stagger. This gun will always stagger what you're shooting at. The Defender will not. So even though it does a little bit more damage, I don't really care that much about this gun because it still has a slow rate of fire when it comes to SMGs and assault rifles in general. It really just doesn't do a great job at taking out these smaller targets, and I'd rather use something like the Pummeler, which staggers. I don't think it's bad. If it's the only SMG you have, then it's not terrible. I'm going to be putting it into the average category, but I definitely don't think there's anything too spectacular about it, so that's why we're going to leave it there. When it comes to the Pummeler, which is the concussive round version, this will stagger anything that you shoot at from medium to small targets. So that means the jetpack guys you can hit with these rounds and it will instantly stop them in place, which will allow you to continuously break off their armor and kill their weak, gushy parts inside. Not only that, it does a great job at staggering the hordes which are coming after you, and even better than that, it stops the melee guys from running up to you and constantly beating you in the face with their mace when you're trying to get up and stim. So because of that, I actually really enjoyed the Pummeler. I thought that this was a really good weapon. I don't know if I put it in the insane category, but I would definitely say that it's a solid choice and one that I really enjoyed messing around with. The two final weapons we have are almost identical, and I think that this was done on purpose. The Knight is only available for people that buy the Super Citizen edition of the game. And I just picked this up like a week ago because I really wanted to mess around with the Knight, and I also thought the armor set looked sick. But then we had the STA-11 released. We can see that both guns have very good rate of fires at over 1,000 rounds a minute each. And not only that, they both have the same damage per shot and almost identical capacities with same recoil. Because of that, I almost classify these guns exactly the same. I like the STA-11 a little bit more, because of the fact it shoots kind of slower. It allows you to have an easier time at controlling people that are coming after you. But honestly, both of them are pretty similar. So I'm going to be ranking them in the same category, and that is the strong category. I think these are both great. They are amazing at dealing with not only the medium-sized guys. If you get a full mag dump into a jetpack or lance, you will completely destroy it. And not only that, but these also just headshot everything so easily, and they are one-handed weapons, which means that you can hold the directional shield, blocking all incoming damage from bullets, while also being able to do a great job against everything else in front of you. I think that these are all great. I really like the one-handed weapons. The directional shield, in my eyes, is one of the best additions to the game, and it's why I've been loving the one-handed items. So yeah, if you're not using the directional shield, I think that these SMGs are pretty average. But if you are, the ability to block the damage plus have this super good rate of fire, being able to clear the hordes, I think it's a great weapon choice, and it's what I've been using a lot. Moving up, we have the sniper rifles. Now, obviously the Constitution. As much as we love celebrating history of Super Earth, it's not good. I've messed around with it, it's just not good. Do not use this weapon. You will literally hate yourself. So I want to get that right out of the way. Then we arrive to the other two snipers. We have the Counter Diligence, and we have the base one. These are pretty similar. One just does a little bit more damage and has a little bit less mag capacity. I like more damage, so the Diligence Counter Sniper is better, especially because this one has light armor pen, this one has medium pen. But both of these are rather mediocre. Once again, you're dealing with a lot of squids at high tier difficulties. Level 9s, level 10s, you're dealing with a lot of squids. And sure, these guns are decent at dealing with medium-sized targets, but with the new sniper rifle that was just released, this completely defeats the purpose of both of these at dealing with the medium-sized targets. And don't even get me started, these are not going to deal with hordes well. They don't hold enough ammo, they don't have a fast enough fire rate for me. They're okay, but I will not be using these weapons too much. I'd much rather use an assault rifle, a shotgun, an SMG to deal with hordes. So because of that, I'm going to put them both into the average category. But I'm actually going to do the base diligence into workable. The light armor pen, I just don't understand why you choose that when you can have one that has more damage, same rate of fire, and have basically better capabilities all round. So yeah, we're going to be putting this one in the average and this one in the workable. When it comes to the new sniper, the Plaz 39, which was just released, this is probably one of my favorite weapons in the game now, especially for the Illuminate. This gun does a whopping 350 damage each shot, and it shoots a burst of 3. So it goes pew pew pew. In other words, you deal 1,050 damage in one burst. You can full kill a back of the Hulk in 2 bursts with this. You can break the back of a Charger in 3 shots to the back, or 3 bursts, should I say. And this thing in 5 bursts, if you hit all of them, can take out a full Harvester. That is insane, and it makes this gun incredible. Not only that, but 1 full burst of penning hits on a medium-sized target will take it out. So the jetpack guy, if you hit 1 burst, this will easily deal with it, no problems whatsoever. This gun is incredible. It's because it has that explosive damage. Now, the problem is it's not like the other energy-based weapons where it has a lot of explosive damage. Like, for example, the Purifier, when I use this gun, if I charge it and shoot at a horde right at the ground, it'll kill like 5 to 6 a shot. This weapon will not do that. It will only kill basically what you're shooting at. Sometimes if you line it up properly, you can kill a couple, but it's not great at that. It's a really good single target killing weapon. And what I've been doing with this is I've been pairing it with a stalwart and kind of like a rail cannon. That way I can kill the hordes and I can kill the medium-sized guys. This is a great gun. I really enjoyed using it, and I'm actually surprised on how much I enjoyed it because I usually don't love snipers that much. But this one's really good. I actually think it's best against the Illuminate versus all the other ones. So I'm going to be putting this, honestly, I think into the insane category. I think it's a really good weapon. I think it's great. So yeah, I'm going to put that into the insane. I mean, it's new, and I've really been enjoying it. You can let me know your personal feelings, but I posted a whole video on the weapon as well, and it went surprisingly well. So now we have the assault weapons, the assault rifles. First of all, we have just the Liberator. And the Liberator is going to make its way into the decent category. It really is just kind of an average assault rifle. It's not bad. It's not great. If you're a new player and you have it, you can use it. But apart from that, there's really not much of a reason to really pull out this weapon if you have better ones. Especially the Liberator Penetrator. This has been an absolute joy. It's one of my favorite weapons to use. I'm going to be putting the Liberator Penetrator easily into the insane category. I think that this is such a good weapon. It melts through the medium-sized targets. Now that it has more ammo capacity paired with the new armor sets, you can easily take out anything in front of you. Hordes, large guys. You can even clear the harvesters with this gun due to the fact it has medium pen. I've really been enjoying it. It is a fantastic choice, and yeah, easy there. We have the Liberator Concussive, which I don't like at all. I think the rate of fire is slow, and I honestly like the Pummeler a lot more because the Pummeler has a faster rate of fire. I don't think it's bad. I'm going to put it into the decent category, but I just think there's a lot of better options. And I don't love the fire rate. It's kind of hard to deal with a lot of zombies at once when you have a slow fire rate. I mean, look at how slow this thing's fire rate is. What is it, 300 rounds a minute? Yeah, 320 rounds a minute. It's just not enough for me. I'd much rather use something like the Tenderizer, which has not only more damage per shot, but also a much faster fire rate. And yeah, this thing has a lot of ammo capacity, but it also doesn't have a lot of magazines. So there's trade-offs. Liberator Concussive is really good if you're just trying to stagger things, but I don't know. I've never really liked it that much after the changes. So you can let me know your personal feelings about this one in the comments, but I personally don't like it all that much. We also have the STA-52 assault rifle, which, as we can see, is very similar to the base Liberator. It does the same damage. The only difference is that it has 11 more rounds in the mag, and it has a little bit more recoil with a faster fire rate. So this is definitely better than the Liberator. Not a whole lot better, but it is a better choice than the Liberator. And because of that, I'm going to be putting it into the strong category. I did enjoy using it when I was messing around with it. Also, it looks like our list here is going to kind of tear off a bit, but oh well. Here, I'll make a little addition. Oh yeah, boom, boom, easy peasy. There you go, easy peasy. There, okay. There's our continuation of the list. Okay, boom. That's as good as it's gonna get there. But yeah, the STA, it's okay. I'm not gonna say it's anything ridiculous, but a strong weapon at dealing with the hordes, at dealing with the medium-sized targets. I wish it had medium armor pen, but that right now goes to the Liberator Penetrator. So we have three more weapons. We have the Liberator Carbine, we have the Adjudicator, and we have the Tenderizer. I would definitely put the the Liberator Carbine into strong. Really, really good weapon as well. Its only downside is the fact that it's very hard to control the recoil, and again, it blows through ammo so incredibly quickly. You need a weapon that doesn't blow through ammo fast, because you're going to be dealing with a lot. So it's really good at a lot of things, but the recoil makes it sometimes very hard to manage. You're going to have to be crouched to use it, which isn't the end of the world, but it can be when you're getting hit by a lot of damage, especially if you're having a harvester in the back and you can't do anything about harvesters because you have light pen. It's a really, really fun weapon. The rate of fire is insane, over 900, but it's got a couple downsides, which you also got to keep in mind. The Tenderizer is also, I would put into the strong category. It has really good damage per shot, but it's limited by the light armor pen. Again, if the Tenderizer had medium armor pen, I would love it, because look at that damage per shot, 95. That is one of the highest damage per shot assault rifles, right up there next to the Adjudicator. I just wish that it had medium armor pen, but it's got a decent amount of capacity at 35. It's got very low recoil, as we can see, only 10, making it one of the lowest recoil weapons in the game. It's actually really fun to use, decent fire rate. This is a really, really good weapon, and I think it's one that a lot of people actually kind of underrate. It's just a little boring, but solid weapon. And then to finish off, we have the Adjudicator, which I really like. I'm also going to be putting the Adjudicator into the insane category. The only problem with the Adjudicator is that it has very, very low ammo capacity. It only has 30 rounds per shot, where the Liberator Penetrator has 45, but the Adjudicator does 50% more damage at 90 versus 60, so that it is something to keep in mind. Yes, it's got a lot of recoil, but I usually crouch fire with this gun, and when you do, it does a lot of damage. It does a lot. This thing is a beast, especially at dealing with the medium-sized guys. This is where it definitely has its advantage over the Liberator Penetrator, but it does a little bit worse against the hordes. I still think it's a really good gun, but there's some good things and some bad things about both. But this can really take out the harvesters quickly because of that damage per shot. So really, really nice in that regard. So now we arrive to the final classes of weaponry. We have the energy, and we also have the special. So let's start off with the energy. This is the Purifier. And the Purifier is insane. I think the Purifier, yeah, definitely just goes right into the insane category. This is one of my favorite weapons in the game. It's great against bots, it's great against bugs, and it's great against the Illuminate. The only thing that it kind of struggles at is the Harvester. It takes about 15 shots to clear a Harvester. That's a lot, judging that you have to fully charge each one. So, yeah, don't bother trying to kill Harvesters unless they're already low on health. But to make up for that, it nukes the hordes. It has one of the highest ammo capacities, while it only has 15 rounds, because each one's a charge up. You basically have a crossbow amount of damage, but you have double the amount of ammo in each mag. You got a lot of mags. I love the Purifier. It's by far my favorite weapon in the game right now. I'm so glad I picked it up in the Polar Patriots. It's really good. So it's always going to make it into the insane category for me, and it's not just insane against Illuminate. This is by far like one of the best weapons in the game. Definitely consider using this. We have the Scorcher, and the Scorcher is going to go into the decent category. There's a big problem with the Scorcher, and that is it runs out of ammo so fast. Again, like I keep talking about this ammo capacity, but if you don't mess around with 10s much, you don't realize how much it matters. But even if you're in lower difficulty, just running through ammo is a problem. And yes, I know there's ammo scattered around the map like crazy, but even then, I hate being in a situation where I'm dealing with a bunch of stuff and then I'm just out of ammo and I have to instantly swap to my secondary. It's not a fun feeling. And that's the main thing I've hated about the Scorcher. Even after increasing its ammo capacity, it just blows through the ammo so fast. And when you can use the Purifier, which basically is just better in every way, I'd rather use the Purifier over the Scorcher. It's not a bad gun. I've enjoyed it. Usually with the Scorcher, I will run a resupply pack, and then it's great. But that's one specific build. So if you're going to do that, then I'd put it in the strong to insane. But if you're not, it's going into decent, because it does have some big downsides. All right, well, we got 4 weapons left. We have Well, not 4. We got 8. I don't know why I thought 4. We have the Breaker, or not the Breaker. This is the Punisher Plasma. Punisher Plasma is a bop. It does explosive damage, which is always really nice because obviously explosive damage is going to deal a great amount of damage to the medium guys. For any of you that don't understand the way the armor works, as I said before, they have like ERA. So you can shoot the armor and then it breaks off. But explosive damage breaks through that ERA and will damage behind the armor anyway. So if you shoot, for example, a nade launcher at a jetpack squib, 2 nades will kill it. Always. Even though it has the armor on the front. Versus if you were to shoot something that didn't have explosive damage, but the same damage as the nade, you'd have to break off the armor first and then hit that exact same spot another 2 times. So because of that, I do like the Punisher Plasma. It's basically a better version of the base Punishers, and because it has explosion damage, it does a great job as well at dealing with the hordes. I'm going to put this one into the strong category. I don't think it's anything insane, but it's definitely a solid weapon. It also does a decent job at taking out the harvesters if you aim it properly. So not bad at all, but does struggle sometimes, especially, again, poor ammo capacity. You're going to run through ammo very quickly with it, but not a bad weapon. We have 3 left, and these are really energy-based. First of all, we have the Blitzer. Blitzer is okay. The problem with the Blitzer is it really struggles with the jetpacks because they're far away. While this cuts right through their armor, they are far away. You have a lot of damage drop-off because of that. I'm going to put the Blitzer into decent. It's not bad. Definitely will cut through hordes very quickly. And you also don't have to worry about ammo, which is great. But I don't love the fact that the Blitzer just struggles with distance. It does stagger, but it struggles with people at distance. And it also can't really take out harvesters at all, which is a problem. So it's okay. I do like it. It's not a bad shout, but I'd much rather have something that can deal a little bit of distance damage. That's always great. So now we have the, what is this? The Scythe? Yes, the Scythe and the Sickle. The Scythe is pretty good. It's very good if you want a headshot because you can get a perfect beam and just go right off the heads of those squibs. But really mediocre at killing the medium size and has light armor pen, so you're not going to be able to take out any of the larger targets. I'm going to be putting this weapon into the I'm going to do the average category. I don't really love it that much, and the reason why is because the sickle exists, and the sickle's kind of just better. I really enjoyed the sickle. In fact, I think the sickle's amazing. I'm going to be putting this definitely into the strong category. I really, really enjoyed the sickle when I used it. It has great damage output for killing all the small guys, and it does a good job at killing the medium-sized targets. Plus, because it has a decent amount of magazine, you can, even if you overheat, just quickly reload, put a new mag in, and with all the ammo scattered around, it's easy to just get more mags once you're on, like, your last 2. So, sickle's great. Honestly, I really enjoyed the sickle. It's always a bop. It's great against bugs, and it's great against these guys as well. So, yeah, not a bad choice. And then we arrive to the final 4. We have the crossbow, the eruptor, the torture, and the dominator. Well, let's start off with the crossbow. And the crossbow is always going to go into the insane category if you're a decent shot. If you're not good, then I wouldn't bother using the crossbow, because if you can't hit your shots, then it's going to be a struggle. But if you can hit your shots on the medium-sized targets, it's going to be 2 hits and they're down. The crossbow can also one-shot the dropships. Not the dropships coming down, but the dropships on the ground. You can one-shot them, shooting right into the opening door. Not only that, the crossbow also one-shots the arc towers. It one-shots the cognitive disruptor little nodes. It's really good at dealing with all of that. Because of that, the crossbow feels great. Plus, it's a one-handed weapon, which means that you can also pair the crossbow with the directional shield, making it even better. I love the crossbow. It's always going to be one of the best weapons in the game after the buffs. 100% would recommend to use. The eruptor is pretty solid, but the eruptor doesn't deal with the hordes great. Like, yeah, it's got a lot of shrapnel. If you aim it properly, it's really good. But I don't love the eruptor. I'm going to be putting this into the average category for me. This is probably one of my lesser preferred weapons. I still think it's, like, okay, because you do have that shrapnel. It can mow through a horde. But, I don't know. It's really, really tricky to hit those shots because of its slow shell velocity on the medium-sized guys. And sometimes when they run up to you, you'll kill yourself, which obviously happens with the crossbow and other energy weapons, but the eruptor is really good at killing yourself with because of the shrapnel. It's alright, but not my preferred choice. And then the final 2 weapons we have are the Torture and the Dominator. The Torture is a blast. The Torture's only real problem is dealing with the Harvester, because if you get close to the Harvester, you're going to get zapped. But with the new armor that has been released, that is no longer a problem. If we make our way over to the Armory tab, everybody has gotten a free set of armor, which is the new 50% resistance to fire, gas, acid, and electrical damage. Specifically, the Obedient is what everybody got. This is crazy good, because you can use the Flamethrower, have 50% acid, and most importantly, fire resistance, but also have arc resistance. So you can run this armor, run up to the harvesters with your flamethrower, survive the arc, use a stim, continue flaming the harvester, and kill it. And not only that, you can do the same thing when it comes to all the flying jetpack guys. The torture, I'm not going to put it into insane, but it's definitely going to go into the strong category. It's a really, really solid shout, very, very good weapon, and one that I find very fun to use. So we're going to put it right there. And then we have the final choice, the Dominator. Dominator is pretty solid. I'm not going to say it's anything crazy. I'm going to put it into the decent category. Dominator does a lot of damage because it has little explosive rounds, which deal a big chunk of damage to the medium-sized guys. It also has a decent amount of ammo capacity, which means you can also quickly destroy the hordes. But I don't love its accuracy. It's very, very clunky to shoot. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's a little clunky. So it does do a lot of damage, does a medium pen, but at the same time, with 275 damage and medium pen, I'd much rather just use something like the Halt, which has more damage, has medium pen as well, has the ability to stagger. I don't know. I just think that this is a more enjoyable weapon, so that's why I'm going to put the Dominator into decent. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is my tier list for Helldivers. That's a big category for the strong there. There, you can get a good idea of it, but we got a big, big category of strong, but I don't think there's really any bad weapons. I think even the workable, you can still use. I think any of these weapons, if you use the proper build, like, for example, as I mentioned, I don't love these average weapons here. The sickle I did a build with yesterday because I wanted to try it out, and it was okay. But if you pair the sickle with something like a guard dog so that it can deal with the medium-sized targets, and then you also use some decent stratagems, you're able to do fine. It's when you run into situations where, you know, you could just use a Dominator or a Breaker Spray and Pray and just obliterate the hordes in front of you, and then what's the point of the sickle, right? So, I don't know. Or not the sickle, the scythe. So you can let me know your personal feelings in the comments. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!